The Buccaneers landed on Apple TV Plus with all the scandal and splendor of the 1870s Gilded Age, following 5 vibrant American heiresses as they navigate the treacherous waters of British high society in search of titles, husbands, and their own desires. Based on Edith Wharton's unfinished novel, this lavish historical drama captivated viewers with its stunning costumes, complex love stories, and exploration of societal constraints. Before Season 2 arrives, let's dive into the dramatic entanglements and shocking revelations that define the first season of this addictive period drama. The series introduces us to our Buccaneers, young American women from nouveau riche families who set sail for London's marriage market. At the center is Nan St. George, Christine Froseth, whose unconventional spirit and beauty quickly attract attention in rigid British society. Her sister Jinny, Imogen Waterhouse, is more traditional but equally determined to secure an advantageous match. They're joined by their friends, the recently married Conchita Clausen Alicia Bow, who's already experiencing the challenges of cross-cultural marriage to Lord Richard Marrable, and the Elmsworth sisters Practical Lizzie, Aubrey Ibragg, and the secretly queer Mabel, Josie Toda, whose own journey of self-discovery unfolds throughout the season. The story begins with Conchita's whirlwind marriage to Lord Richard serving as inspiration for the other American girls' families to ship them off to England in search of titled husbands. While Jinny and Lizzie dive eagerly into the debutante season, the more free-spirited Nan immediately clashes with British social expectations. During a London event, Nan catches the eye of Guy Thwart, Matthew Broome, an unconventional Englishman who appreciates her authenticity. Meanwhile, both Jinny and Lizzie become infatuated with Richard's younger brother James, Barney Fishwick, setting up one of the season's most troubling love triangles. The first major scandal erupts when Jinny accidentally reveals to Nan that she is illegitimate, a bombshell that sends Nan reeling and prompts her family to separate the sisters by sending Nan on a tour of Cornwall to avoid disrupting Jinny's marriage prospects. This exile becomes a turning point when Nan, indulging in her love of wild swimming, encounters Theo, Duke of Tintagel, Guy Remmers. Captivated by her refreshing American directness and unaware of her secret, Theo, one of England's most eligible bachelors, quickly becomes enchanted with Nan. The drama escalates during a house party at Runnymede, hosted by Conchita and Richard. While the stately home provides a gorgeous backdrop, ugly truths emerge. James cruelly humiliates Lizzie by forcing her to strip nude in front of him, revealing his sadistic nature. Conchita overhears Richard disparaging her ability to fit into British society, causing her to flee in distress. Meanwhile, Mabel and Lady Honoria Marrable, Mia Threppleton, share a tender moment that hints at forbidden feelings between them. The most surprising development comes when Nan confides her illegitimacy to Guy, who promptly disappears, only for Theo to arrive unexpectedly and propose marriage to Nan, cementing their whirlwind romance. The romantic complications intensify in episode 3 when Theo's mother, the Dowager Duchess of Tintagel, hosts a private ball at their ancestral home Tintagel. Nan grows closer to both Theo and his mother, seemingly finding her place in this aristocratic world. However, the sudden appearance of Guy, revealed to be Theo's closest friend, throws Nan into emotional turmoil. Her confused feelings for both men establish the central love triangle that will drive much of the season's emotional conflict. Meanwhile, Jinny and James elope in a scandalous turn of events, while Conchita and Richard reconcile after their earlier conflict. In a tender moment away from judgmental eyes, Mabel and Honoria share their first kiss, beginning a secret romance that will face countless obstacles in Victorian England. When the girls return to New York for a visit, Patricia St. George throws an extravagant party celebrating her daughter's successful courtships. However, the celebration is marred by Nan's determination to tell Theo the truth about her birth. Her efforts to learn more about her origins from her father prove fruitless, leaving her frustrated and uncertain. The romantic complications reach a fever pitch when Guy, drunk and lovesick, sends a telegram confessing his love for Nan, a message that Theo intercepts and reads without telling Nan. Meanwhile, Conchita worries about returning to the suffocating Brightlingsea household, and Mabel's mother catches her kissing a maid, adding another layer of tension to the Elmsworth family dynamics. The New York sojourn ends with Theo proposing an accelerated wedding date, and Patricia informing her husband that their marriage is over, setting up dual marital crises that will reverberate throughout the remaining episodes. Back in England, Guy hosts a bonfire night celebration at his estate, though he's secretly struggling financially. In a move that reveals his jealousy and calculation, Theo invites Jean to the gathering, hoping to push her and Guy together, and thus eliminate his friend as a romantic rival. During a game in a hedge maze, Nan discovers the existence of Guy's confession telegram, planting seeds of doubt about Theo's honesty. The evening also allows Jinny and Lizzie to repair their friendship, while Mabel and Honoria consummate their relationship. The romantic entanglements continue to twist when Conchita, now separated from Richard, confesses to Nan that she's in love with Guy, adding yet another competitor for his affections. The night climaxes with a confrontation between Theo and Guy during a poker game, though they eventually reconcile around the bonfire, temporarily preserving both their friendship and Theo's engagement to Nan. The Christmas episode brings the characters together at the Tintagel estate, where tensions simmer beneath the festive atmosphere. Guy courts Jean while maintaining an awkward peace with Nan as her wedding approaches. In a devastating confession, Lizzie tells Jinny about James' cruelty and psychological torment, but Jinny refuses to acknowledge her husband's abusive behavior. Retaliating against this perceived betrayal, Jinny reveals Nan's illegitimacy to James, who quickly weaponizes this information. Meanwhile, Mabel makes the practical decision to enter a convenience marriage with Miles, hoping this arrangement will allow her and Lizzie to remain in England, while she secretly continues her relationship with Honoria. In a touching development, Conchita and Richard find their way back to each other, discovering genuine love beneath their cultural differences, which prompts their loyal governess Mrs. Testvalley to leave their service, believing her guidance is no longer needed. The Christmas celebrations take a dramatic turn when James informs the Dowager Duchess about Nan's illegitimacy, threatening her engagement to Theo. In a private moment, Nan confesses to Guy her relief at the potential end of her engagement, revealing her lingering feelings for him. However, she then boldly takes control of her narrative at the Christmas luncheon by publicly admitting her illegitimate birth. In a romantic gesture that seems to secure their future, Theo declares his unwavering love for Nan and his intention to marry her despite the scandal, a moment of apparent triumph that will soon be complicated. The penultimate episode centers around a lavish New Year's Eve party at the Brightlingsea estate, where Nan faces open hostility from guests who now know her secret. When the St. George parents arrive, Patricia scolds Jinny for revealing Nan's illegitimacy and later informs her husband of her plans to divorce him after Nan's wedding secures her social position as mother to a duchess. The romantic triangle reaches its breaking point when Nan and Guy share an intimate moment on the roof, only to return downstairs to find an angry Theo, who reveals he knew about Guy's telegram all along. The confrontation escalates when Theo forces Guy to recite the love confession in front of everyone, humiliating both Nan and Guy. Furious at Theo's deception, Nan confronts him about hiding his knowledge of both the telegram and her parentage, then storms off. Meanwhile, other relationships reach critical junctures. Lizzie publicly condemns Jinny and James for their cruelty. Jinny, secretly pregnant, attempts to leave the party but returns to James's side out of obligation. Honoria subtly reveals to Richard her knowledge of his affair with Lady Testvalley while encouraging his happiness with Conchita. And Guy makes a surprising announcement that he has proposed to Lady Hopely, claiming they both need to move on from their unrequited loves. The New Year's Eve drama concludes with apparent resolutions that will be overturned in the finale. The season finale brings all storylines to their emotional climax on the eve of Nan's wedding to Theo. Given one last night to change her mind, Nan faces her most difficult decision. The long-simmering tensions between the characters explode. Richard confronts his mother and announces plans to sever ties and move to America with Conchita, even after learning her family has lost their fortune. Jinny collapses on the stairs, revealing her pregnancy to James, who responds by beating her, and Patricia confirms to Tracy her intention to divorce him once Nan secures her position as Duchess. In a touching scene, Mabel comes out to Lizzie, who accepts her sister with love. The season's most dramatic twist comes when Guy climbs to Nan's room the night before her wedding and confesses he's ended his engagement to Lady Hopely. The two finally acknowledge their love and spend the night together. Their passion is interrupted when a bruised Jinny reveals James's abuse and her pregnancy. The trio hatches a desperate plan to escape to South America, but James intercepts them and forcibly takes Jinny back. Faced with impossible choices, Nan makes a heartbreaking decision the next morning. She proceeds with her wedding to Theo, who now knows about her night with Guy, Not for love but for the protection her status as Duchess will provide for Jinny and Guy against James's threats. The ceremony goes forward even as their friends stall for time, allowing Jinny to ultimately escape with Guy. The season ends with a shocking cliffhanger as Tracy reveals to Patricia that Nan's biological mother has returned, setting up a major storyline for Season 2. Throughout its first season, The Buccaneers masterfully explores the clash between American directness and British tradition, the constraints placed on women in Victorian society, and the painful choices required when navigating a world where marriage represents both opportunity and imprisonment. With its combination of sumptuous visuals, complex characters, and intertwining romances, the series leaves viewers eagerly anticipating how these relationships will evolve in the second season. Will Nan find happiness in her marriage of convenience to Theo? Can Jinny and Guy build a new life together? What will happen when Nan comes face to face with her biological mother? These questions and more await resolution when The Buccaneers returns.